So, okay, I'm gonna do this aside right now because this is something I've been thinking about for quite some time. So early on, some people theorized that this is some kind of psychotic who's just cruising places looking for a victim. But is that too coincidental? Let's go to the Midlothian crime statistics for this. So on neighborhoodscout.com, they pull some stats here. Because if this was in a place like a highly populated area, New York, LA, Dallas even, you could possibly make the case that there's roaming psychotics that may or may not do something like this. This is Midlothian, Texas. This is Midlothian, Texas. So the crime index, it has a 59 on the crime index, safer than 59% of U.S. cities in totality. So that includes both violent and property cases. So the crime rate per 1,000 residents is 0.91. Violent crime rate per 1,000 residents. So Texas averages a 4.5. Midlothian averages a 0.91. So your chances of becoming a victim of a violent crime in Midlothian is 1 in 1,098, but in Texas averages a 1 in 222. And for property crime per 1,000 residents, Midlothian's an 8.77. Texas averages a 22.62. The national median is 19. And the national median for violent crime per 1,000 residents is 4, and Midlothian's a 0.91, Texas a 4.5. So the chances of becoming a victim of a property crime in Midlothian is 1 in 114. In the rest of Texas, 1 in 44. I'm assuming they're counting basically absolutely everything as a property crime, which of course there's various degrees of property crime as well. On city-data.com, we look at the amount of murders in Midlothian. So they do not get a lot of murders or violent crime in general. So in 2006, 0 murders. 2007, 1 murder. 2008, 0. 2009, 1. 2010, 0. 2011, 0. 2012, 0. 2013, 0. 2014, 0. 2015, 0. 2016, 1. Missy Bevers. 2017, 0. 2018, 0. So murder is definitely not common in Midlothian, Texas. So here's the thing. Obviously, FBI statistics would suggest that Missy Bevers was either killed by a significant other, some kind of a romantic interest, or a friend or coworker or acquaintance or someone known to her. So what are the chances this is a random crime in Midlothian, Texas? See, if this was somewhere else, if this was in a major city, you would still, when she's posting exactly which church at exactly what time the night before, and just the nature of the crime, it still would be unlikely, but it would be more of a theoretical possibility. Now, I'm not going to write off that possibility. This is MINDSHOCK. The only thing we know for sure is that we don't know anything for sure, and this case is as of yet unsolved. But how many murder victims make a post the night before they're murdered on exactly where they're going to be at what time? And if this is some small town where the average murder rate is 0 for many years, I mean, it's kind of too coincidental. Now, is it possible someone saw her post who didn't know her specifically? So if it was, let's say, an acquaintance of an acquaintance looking to kill somebody, they picked this random day, they did see her post even though they didn't personally know her. Is that possible? That's possible, I suppose, but either way, it is not someone just driving around at 4 o'clock in the morning looking for a random place to break into while wearing police SWAT gear. So, yeah, we do have to start with the people known to her. Now, if there's all these messages of extramarital affairs going on, there could be some jealousy at play. There could also be other motives, and we'll be taking a look at those as well. But continuing the post here on truecrimeedition.com. After his alibi was verified, Brandon Bevers was questioned by investigators wanting to know who would harm his wife. He told investigators he couldn't think of anyone who would like to hurt Missy. Judging by the fact that Missy's licensed gun was left in her car in the church car park, Missy didn't think there was anyone who wanted to harm her either. And what a shame that is. What a shame. Brandon told the police that his marriage to Missy was great and that they were happy. Still, investigators found out that the marriage was in disrepair and fraught with financial issues and infidelity. On April 22nd, Brandon's father, Randy, went to a dry cleaner's in town with a woman's blood-stained shirt, asking for it to be cleaned. He told the employee that the blood was from breaking up a dog fight, but Missy's murder story had been all over the news, so the employee called the police. A warrant was issued for the shirt, and when analyzed, it looked like someone had already tried to clean the blood off the shirt beforehand. Police also noticed that Randy had a similar physique to the person in the security footage from the church, and he walked with a limp. However, Randy was in California when Missy was murdered, and his alibi cleared him as a suspect. Brandon's sister, Christy, corroborated her father's story that the dogfight happened and that the report eventually came back as positive for canine blood, but the damage was done by then. The community chastised Randy, and despite all of the statements being made public, he was, in their eyes, guilty. A few weeks later, police found security footage from a nearby sporting goods store and discovered a Nissan Altima driving around a nearby car park a few hours before the murder. This video was also released to the public, but the car owner never came forward and no one knew who the car belonged to. And Nissan Altimas are quite popular as well, so that's kind of unfortunate that the make and model of the vehicle was not something a little bit more rare that could be easily tracked, and supposedly that's probably why they used it if this is directly connected here. There was another vehicle that the police didn't enlist the help of the public in finding. It was a dark SUV seen leaving the church car park on the same morning around 4:30 a.m. Some months later, in the fall of 2019, the police realized that a tip had been phoned in multiple times during the investigation. The new lead was regarding former Lancaster police officer Bobby Wayne Henry. He was also a tactical officer who admitted to police that he still owned his riot gear, but it didn't fit him anymore. Henry was a licensed security guard who worked Missy's funeral and attended Mass at Creekside Church of Christ. Henry was suspended from the police due to an aggravated sexual assault in 1996. He owned a similar car to the second vehicle police were looking for information on, and he also walked with a limp. Police sought the advice of a forensics podiatrist to compare the walk of Henry and the masked assailant in the video footage, but the findings were inconclusive. However, the main issue with Henry being a suspect in Missy's murder was that he was 6'1", far too large to be the person in the security footage. However, the second search warrant issued by the police turned up multiple devices that contained child pornography. In June 2017, Henry was arrested for the pornography charges and took part in an interview from jail with Dallas's WFAA News. He denied knowing Missy or even her name, and eventually his alibi for the night of Missy's murder was corroborated. He was released without charge after 70 days in jail. To date, he hasn't been charged for the pornography in his possession. He was also ruled out as a person of interest in Missy's homicide. That's weird. Despite help from the FBI and seemingly strong suspects, the case reached a dead end. Unease quickly rippled to the city of Midlothian, with Missy's killer still free to wander the streets. Internet sleuths began to comb the internet for clues to try to find Missy's murderer, but some of them went too far in their search. Most recently, Missy's daughter Hannah spoke to Inside Edition and recalled the struggles she and her family have been through since her mother's death. I've had people on Facebook message me and say, "Your dad did this. Your dad killed your mom." My dad loved my mom, and I know that 100%. Missy's killer was between 5'2" and 5'8". Their feet predominantly point outward, and they walked with a limp. This person could be a man or woman. Police are still looking for the owner of the Nissan Altima. So, okay. A couple of things. Let's look at the stepfather here, because there are some issues with this guy. The other thing, too, actually, while we're looking through this footage here, I mean, what is this guy doing? Is he trying to stage this as some kind of robbery, but then he doesn't even take anything? So, I mean, it's kind of weird. If you're staging it as a robbery, wouldn't you actually stage it as a robbery? Or is this just a certified loon? I mean, it's kind of weird. And if he knew he did, the other question is, did this individual know whether or not there was CCTV footage here? And so are there two vehicles in question then? The Altima and a dark SUV that the police actually did not make public or ask the public for help finding? Does that mean there was more than one individual involved here? Because why are there two vehicles? Supposedly neither has been cleared? I mean, this is kind of weird. So let's look at his gait here. Randy Bevers here. Similar gait, no question. No question, similar gait. Feet point outward slightly, yes. See, the thing is, a lot of people walk like this. That's the problem with doing these types of analyses. You might not necessarily be able to rule them out. Does that rule them in? Also, some people believe this is Duper's delight here on why he's just so smiley in regards to all of these charges, and even the blood on the shirts at the dry cleaner. So here's the thing regarding that. There's no way he'd be dumb enough to send that to a dry cleaner. He would get rid of it. So even if he's guilty, I mean, this doesn't mean he's innocent. Just because, I mean, people have dogs get into fights, blood gets on clothes. I mean, none of this is strange, especially not in Texas. So that doesn't mean he's innocent just because the blood on the clothes that he happened to turn in belonged to dogs. That doesn't mean he's innocent in any way. Doesn't mean he's guilty either, because, I mean, how dumb would one have to be to take clothes to a dry cleaner from a murder victim? I mean, that's kind of weird. So this was kind of like a whole bunch of nothing, but he seemed happy, again, according to this interview here, we'll listen to a clip from it, that the police were investigating these things.
The dry cleaner had your shirt listed as a woman's double XL shirt, just listing. That's your shirt. The dry cleaner listed your shirt with the bloodstains on it as a women's.
Well, my wife's white shirt had bloodstains on it too. So both of us had bloodstains on her shirt and mine. So because it,
So there are two shirts of blood on it.
Yeah.
The one only listed one.
The one on listed one. Where's the other shirt?
The dry cleaners.
So the dry cleaner calls and says there's blood on.
I don't know what I don't know the conversation between the cleaners and the police station. Okay, I don't know that conversation.
So you're saying there's blood on two shirts.
There's two shirts that's got blood on. Okay.
And then, Randy, even though it's brought you this attention, would you say that you're glad that they're looking so closely?
You better
at all
believe
of
it.
this?
You better believe it. You better believe it. If they weren't, they wouldn't be doing their job. Okay, so by them doing this, it tells me that they're being diligent and doing their job on any tiny little whatever comes across is being looked at, and it should be. So that's great.
So what does everybody think about that clip? I mean, is this Duper's delight here? It's just kind of weird. I mean, it's kind of weird. I don't know what to make of it. Supposedly, his alibi did clear. So what does that mean?